What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339.0, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Break Tru Studios, and Reggae Jam.
Is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting your business or your livelihood? Or you're struggling to pay your pending and current bills? Then you must listen very carefully. Premium advertising will expose your business to thousands of people instantly by using both digital and terrestrial radio and a wide range of social media platforms to get your business out there and start making money. It is that simple, so don't delay. Contact us to advertise your business on New Style Radio 98.7 FM, www.newstyleradio.co.uk, and all multiple social media platforms. Our highly trained digital marketing team will create a bespoke digital marketing strategy tailored to get your business up and running and making money in no time. Don't delay, call us today. Our team is standing by. 07584197380. WhatsApp us on 07872443765 or email us at newstyleradio@yahoo.com. Good afternoon. How you doing? Welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. I'm Carl. The program is produced by Break Tru TV at gmail.com. This is a live stream. We are right here broadcasting live. And today I have in the studio with me Marcia Dunkley. How are you, Marcia?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's great.
And we're going to have a little chat about a couple of different things. So let me ask you, how was your day?
Very good. What I call zoomed out. And literally, I just remember the days before COVID, you would attend a meeting, you'd travel there, and you'd probably be able to do maximum of 3 meetings a day. Now, because of Zoom, it's like meeting after meeting, and you can do 8 meetings in a day, and actually, at the end of the day, you feel so tired, as if you'd actually done a day's work out in the community. But apart from that, I'm fine. Yeah, I've had a good day.
So you've had a busy day?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What about Christmas? Christmas is around the corner.
Yes.
What's something there?
Well, Christmas in our house is it's for the children, right? And my boys are teenagers now, but they are like big kids, and they've gone through all the Argos catalogues, all the online websites you can find. The list is as long as your arm for each of them. So, but it's for the children. It's a wonderful time for family to get together and just to have a rest from work. But you work harder in the house in that kitchen.
So you won't be working on Christmas Day then?
No. But I'll be in the house tied to that stove, so it's fine though.
Marvellous. As you know, I always look at a few things. If you've seen the program before, guys, you know I always look at a few things that is happening around the world. And then I have my rants. And today, me and Marcia is going to talk about, she's here especially, we're going to talk about domestic violence and my rant, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
That's it, yes. Anyway, let me start looking at a few things that's been happening around the world. Yeah. The largest tornado has hit the United States, and it has left over 88 people dead. Yeah. It also has left quite a few people homeless, injured, and as I said, it has devastated the place. Joe Biden is actually taking a trip today to look at the disaster, and 6 people has died at an Amazon distribution factory, and also another factory that actually makes candles. That factory was actually wiped out. The trouble is now, I ask myself, and I ask out there, why were people still working at an Amazon factory when they know a tornado was coming? Yeah, they should have been evacuated long time ago, because they would have had the warning. And sometimes you think this business, you don't know what they're actually getting up to. You know what I mean? And I said the other factory that has been wiped out, the candle factory, there's nobody there. People has also been injured there, and somebody needs to answer. You know what I mean? For this sort of this sort of thing. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just not on. Let me move on. Now, come to the UK. The UK has launched a huge booster program against Omicron variants on Monday. Boris Johnson has said a triple wave of infection is looming. He's also addressed the nation today, and he's encouraging people to have their booster. In our region, 7 cases of Omicron has been confirmed in Birmingham, and the COVID virus is activating at about 16%. So this is not a joke thing. It is a very, very serious thing, and we actually need to take it very, very seriously, or else we could go back into a lockdown. Marcia, do you think we'll go back into a lockdown?
Well, I know it all depends on hospitalisations. If the hospitals can't cope, that's what triggers a lockdown. As long as the hospitals can cope, you won't get a lockdown.
Okay. But the hospital is actually they say it's flooded, isn't it?
It's flooding.
It's
yeah,
flooding.
It is, and it will do. It normally does this time of year, even with just the flu. Anyway, pneumonia. It's a numbers thing with this.
And I think the NHS are saying they're not
majorly struggling, but the hospitalisations have gone up considerably. But it's when they cannot cope whatsoever, and your hospital figures, hundreds are being admitted a day to each hospital. That's when you look.
And I think some doctors' surgery are only dealing with very, very emergency cases as well.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
We'll move on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, the first picture of Cameron Cheshire. Cameron Cheshire murdered his best pal. They had a fight on social media. What they was fighting for, I don't know. Cheshire was found guilty of murder. They also had, both of them had weapons. So this is why you shouldn't have weapons, you see. Both of them has weapons, and they had a fight. And Jack Barry, he was only 19. The case happened in Sandwell, and he ended up the worst. So this is what happens when you carry a knife and you get involved in a situation like that. And you can't imagine 2 young guys having a feud over social media. And we say, big condolence to the family. As I said, this case actually happened in March, but the pictures have just been released of Cheshire. And each week I have to say, we come to the studio, even on other programs I do, and there's always stabbing, murder, mainly stabbing. Each week somebody is getting stabbed for some reason or another. And I don't know how we're gonna actually tackle this. Absolutely disgusting. Now here's another story which is a little bit disturbing. Teenager died and 2 others have been injured after a car was overturned. The car in Washwood Heath, Birmingham. This happens on Saturday. And they was driving a Seat, and the Seat actually overturned. And what I say, 2 has been injured, and the teenager has died. The other thing about that is, like, sometimes when you see these drivers, you don't know what is going on. People are so dangerous on the road these days. When they're coming towards you or when they're going towards you. You understand what I'm saying?
I've seen, to be honest with you, the situation we've got is getting from bad to worse. Yeah. And there's almost, especially, and it's not just with the young ones, male and female. I don't know if it's because we've not long come out of lockdown and people have just found this sense of release, but the driving now is awful, to the point where I'm surprised more people aren't being hospitalised because of bad driving.
Well, don't you think that was always like that before?
They probably were, to be honest with you. But there's this whole thing of the problem you've got is there's more traffic on the road. Yeah. And so it's taking people longer to get to where they want to get to because of the weight of the traffic. Okay. And so tempers flare, emotions get high. That's. Well,
how can we deal with We see so many accidents with people on the road now. It's. I gotta tell you, I'm telling you now, I am scared to go out there.
There's not enough police officers.
Yeah,
visible.
that is part of the thing.
The
The other thing I noticed on our road as well, this double parking seems to be everywhere.
Oh,
And nobody is enforcing those laws. Says there shouldn't be any double parking. There seems to be double parking everywhere.
double
when you
parking
go.
everywhere. And then there's the whole thing of more and more bus lanes, which then means there's less space for cars. There's more congestion. Tempers flare even more.
It's terrible. It's not funny, but sometimes you gotta see a little bit of a funny side
To
of
be
the
honest with
situation.
you, if it was, I'd prefer to catch the tram, especially into Birmingham city centre any day. To driving just gives me a headache. The thought of it.
Okay, and is the pram? Is this someone to say fully loaded in Birmingham city centre now?
Well, the tram lines have just come back on this week, I believe. But it's the easiest thing. You jump on the tram, you pay, I don't know, £5, whatever, return, and you get there and back. No hassle, no stress in half the time.
No, I haven't been on a tram for
No,
years.
haven't you? Oh no, it's the best thing.
Yeah. I think many years ago I went on, before it came to Birmingham.
Okay.
I went on one in Wolverhampton.
Okay,
You know?
yes.
Yeah, because Wolverhampton have always seems to have tram. You know what I mean? Let me move on. One man and a 4-year-old boy. 4-year-old boy is actually fighting for his life after a shooting in Constant Spring. Manning Hill Road in Jamaica had been attacked by a gang. And this is another thing we also see all the time as well, you know what I mean? And the thing that really annoys me about this is the fact that we see young kids getting involved when their parents, gotta be their parents or somebody was involved in something like that. And the kid had bullets in him, you know what I mean, and fighting for his life, which is absolutely ridiculous, you know what I mean. And we see this and as I say many times, when you big people are do the thing, you must just do the damn thing and leave the children out of it.
Yeah. But you see, that's what they do. The opposite gang will go for the child because that's where it hurts the most.
Yeah.
I know, it's awful.
It is awful. And I said that story on me, it is absolutely disgusting. Now, let me move on to your field. Now, this is an interesting story. Kate Griffin's Conservative MP has been raped by her ex-husband. And she says she has waived her legal rights to help people with domestic violence. The MP from Burton in Staffordshire waived her legal anonymity. Her ex-husband, Andrew Griffiths, this is disgusting. Andrew Griffiths, he raped, he beat, he even forced her and forcibly have sex with her when she was sleeping.
Oh, that's awful.
That is awful. That is absolutely awful. He literally controlled her. But it's good for her to leave, you know.
Waive her anonymity, and I give her a lot of respect for that, because the whole thing with, I mean, first of all, we need to look at the two distinct terms here.
Yeah.
There's domestic abuse,
Yes.
and then there's domestic violence.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in terms of domestic abuse, that isn't always related to the police as much as domestic violence is, because domestic violence is now when it's at its extreme, which would be the case in this particular case here. Now, with that situation, I'm very respectful of her to that she's waived her, so that people can see.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that what you're saying. We're gonna come back to that story because we're gonna explore that story a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because this is gonna be our rant, yeah.
Okay.
So that is part of our rant. What's on your mind? Right. So we're gonna come back to your story. So let me move on a little bit, yeah. So we're going to sports. The big sports. What's happening in sports? Max Verstaten has won the Abidabi Grand Prix. Yeah. It was a very controversial race. The F1 champion Lewis Hamilton A lot of people say they can't believe it. What's happened here? I'm gonna read you a little bit of rules, yeah. But before I do that, I must say Lewis Hamilton has been actually knighted today at Windsor Castle. So let me move on now. Just want to, before I move on, because this is going to be my rant, but I just want to point something out. Have a listen to this article. People talk about article motor racing. Article 48, rule book 48.12. Any car that have been lapped by the leader will be required to pass cars on the lead lap and the safety car. Now, a lot of people been asking about this rule. That's what it is. And they never follow this rule. But I'm gonna move on because that is my we're gonna try to analyze this race and I'll show you a few points in it that nobody's actually talking about. Yeah? Let me move on. Former international footballer Samuel Atu described becoming head of Cameroon Football Foundation as a great pride and a fantastic moment in his life. And we say big congratulations to that man. He has played also for Barcelona, and as I say, he is an international football player, and it's absolutely marvelous. So let's give him a clap. Yes, we like to do that. We like to see good things, not just dwelling on the, some of the bad news that we actually been giving you. Now, entertainment. Amlak Red Square. Amlak Red Square is a singer. He's also an entertainer. And he said parents should not give their children toy guns for Christmas. Yeah? He said parents should give their children instruments or other things. Let them learn to play an instrument instead of giving them guns, because the situation with guns, crime keeps going up. And the only way you can stop that, and we see kids against kids and all that sort of thing, the only way you can stop that is to educate at a very, very young age. There's other factor that comes into play as well, but that is also a good start. So I think that is positive movements and positive lyrics that he's actually putting out there. Yeah. And I hope people take notice of it. Yeah. Now, legendary bass player Robbie Shakespeare has died. Robbie Shakespeare was a producer, bass player, and his contributed to reggae music has been legendary. And he was part of a duo with Sly and Robbie. He has worked with artists such as the Mighty Diamonds, Mick Jagger, my favorite band, Black Uhuru, many, many more over the years. Grace Jones. He also put a band together in the early days for Peter Tosh to tour. So, also they've worked with Bitty McLean, and they've also, in combination, put what we call the Rockers beat together. Now they say the Rockers beat, take over from the One Drop beats, but I don't think so. But I'm not knocking it. I wouldn't do that. But, I love both beats, and that is actually fantastic. So we say, rest in peace to Robbie Shakespeare. And I know his fans. He's got a lot of fans across the world. And they said this man was fantastic. And I would say, I'd stick my neck out and say, from about the 70s right up into the late 80s, or past the 80s, going into the late 90s, I would say most of the music, reggae music that actually comes out of Jamaica, Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare had a big, big hand in that. And we say maximum respect. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Moving on. Still with entertainment. Silencia has become the first mobile reggae award winner. Mobile reggae act. The award ceremony took place in Coventry Building Society Arena in Coventry. And I say, massive respect to her. And that lady is doing very, very well. And she's going very, very fast. She's become very, very popular now. So she's been going a long time, but she's right up there now, and it's good to see that. It is good to see that. Here's also a little bit more good news. Port Falmouth, that is a beautiful picture. Port Falmouth in Jamaica has won 2 awards. They've won World Best Cruising Terminal and Caribbean Best Cruising Terminal 2021. The award was made on Thursday, and we say big congratulations for winning that award. That is a fantastic port. I know it was built a long time ago. You can see the style of it, but it still helped the country, and it still does fantastic trade. So we have to big that up. You know what I mean? As I say, we always big up big story like that. Sometimes we do it, with people, but this week we're gonna do it with something that's very, very good. What do you think of that?
I think it's beautiful, absolutely.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
I want to go on holiday now.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's the whole idea. That's why we talk about it. Give them a little bit of holiday. You think, wow, what a place to go! I want to go there now.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Paradise. Paradise. Yes. It was marvelous. So now we've come to our rant. Now, let me just read these figures to you, and then we go into it. Talk about domestic violence in general. In the year March 2021, number of domestic abuse-related incidents recorded by police in England and Wales increased. It increased by 16%. 613,929 incidents in 2021. The figure was lower in 2020, 581,649, but that is still bad. Yes. Now, domestic violence is one that is absolutely disgusting, and it shouldn't be happening. Marcia, this is your field. Tell me a little bit about domestic violence. What is domestic violence?
Well, there's 2 terms here. It's quite distinct. There's domestic abuse,
Yes.
which is the psychological and what we call emotional effect,
Yeah.
and physical, that you can have on a person in terms of control. That could be neglect. That could be not verbally communicating with somebody. That's abuse. Now, the whole thing of violence, so there's domestic violence now. With that, obviously, that's the one that gets reported to the police.
Okay.
Because the situation has become extreme, either extreme physically or mentally.
Okay.
And so there's a big issue with the fact that you're hearing all about what in those figures, domestic violence. It's there is a massive and higher percentage of domestic abuse, but that doesn't necessarily get reported to the police because it hasn't got to that escalated stage yet. It's on its way, but not there. Now, the percentage of domestic abuse, and so when we say abuse, domestic abuse could be shouting at someone.
Yes.
It could be neglecting them. It could be not, for example, with a child, not ensuring that it's had its daily meals, etc., or a balanced diet. But that's then not classed as violence. So for me, what we have to do is ascertain the whole thing of distinguishing them.
Okay.
Now, I would imagine, and basically from the networks I work with as well, the reason that the figure is higher this year than last year is because we had 3 major lockdowns last year.
Yeah, but the figures last year is said to be, a lot of people last year was saying domestic violence was high last
high.
year. Yeah, there were a lot of people, even though the figures what we have here for 2021 doesn't reflect that, but the figures for 2020, people were saying it is high. So you would expect it to be more. I mean, you would expect it to be more high in the lockdown than when the lockdown is easing.
Well,
I know you got a good answer for that.
No, but that's whether people had the ability to get out of the house where the abuse is happening to then go and report it to the police.
Okay.
So there's that major distinction there, because obviously the abuse is happening in the house. If you are not able to leave, you can't report it. It then also depends on, those figures came out this year, March 2021. Are they relative of this particular year? So if that's the case, then those figures are from January to March
20. So
or are they those figures relating to last year?
No, those figures are from January to March. From January to March.
Wow,
so that is high.
That is high, because it hasn't then taken into account the rest
of
the
year.
of the year. So we're in a lot of trouble.
We are in a lot of trouble.
And I would imagine that's just the tip of the iceberg, because there's the other, I call minorities within our communities, and when I say minorities, the abuse that certain clientele will not go to the police with. So in terms of with men.
That's right.
And I would imagine for a man who's been abused, and we can say it's either going to be by the female counterpart of the relationship, that is massively embarrassing.
Yeah.
Then for that man who's been abused and it's from a same-sex relationship, that's even just as bad. I don't know if even worse, because you're then having to go to the police, number one, and also how can I expose the fact that you're in a same-sex relationship and you wondering, will it even be taken seriously?
Yeah.
So for men, the whole thing of domestic violence must be absolutely phenomenally, when I say explosive, because you as a man, you're supposed to be able to stand up for yourself, look after yourself.
I see
so with the figures of that, I've read the figures, the latest figures, that's gone up by 16%.
I see what you're saying. How do we stop it?
Right. I think there's no way of stopping this. You can't solve this.
Reduce?
It's the way you manage this. Yeah. And I actually think we actually need to have a social services team who are treated as an emergency service. And so where you've got the police, you've got the fire brigades, etc., you also need to have a social services department that when you ring 999, they come out, because the police are overloaded already with X amount of crimes. This is a very specialist crime. Yeah,
but those, I mean, you've got some experience in this. Does this team work very well together?
They do work well together, but there's the time lapse.
Okay.
So I'm that person that's reported to the police that I'm in trouble. Then there's an amount, whichever time they can come out, they've got to prioritise the crimes that are happening in their area at that time. It could be 2 hours before they're able to get to me.
Right,
right, they do get to me. They take down all the details. It can be 12 hours before social services or another agency can get involved to help me. So you've got literally a day's worth. A whole day where a lot can happen. It can go very, very wrong.
It goes, a whole those. Do you think education plays a part to help it reduce it?
No, right. And not the word education. That won't help. Awareness will. You need to have literally every day adverts on the television and telling people where they can run to, giving them names of who they can contact. And then the other thing that I think that we need is for people to have apps downloaded onto their phones. Right there and then they can press that app and it can go again straight to an agency that can help them. Because what about that person who's suffering domestic abuse and violence and the abuser's there in the vicinity and they can't make that call? But if they could press something on an app on their phone, that's
like a warning signal, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or what, yeah,
Yeah.
that is a very good idea. Do you know of anybody that's been in domestic violence?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I work with a lot of vulnerable people in the community.
Yeah.
And when we say domestic violence, it's a very distinct issue, especially when you're dealing with different cultures as well. So there are certain cultures where domestic violence is almost accepted as part of the culture.
Really?
And if you then step out and say, this is happening to me, the rest of the community, they'll come down on you like a ton of bricks. The only time they have the ability, certain communities, cultures have the ability to talk to someone is when someone like me delivers a food parcel to them.
Yeah, and they see you and
Yes, because they
make
can
it,
see me as a caring person, I'm coming
Yes.
delivering some sort of support. They then can feel comfortable to say, this is happening to me. But the whole thing, what the numbers you're given is literally just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it is very, very serious.
That's just what the police know.
That's what exactly. And the figures are coming from there. That's just what they are.
Yes.
And it's absolutely ridiculous. And as I said, I don't know how they're gonna solve this one. But the trouble about you, domestic violence has always been there, isn't it?
You see, the whole thing of the rat race we live in,
Yeah.
even when you've got an ordinary family, mum and dad and 3 children, and everyone's healthy, the money's coming in, the bills can be paid. Even then, just the way we live creates massive and massive stress. So even when everything's going fine, there's
And will it get worse now at particular this time of year? You know, when people's getting their present stresses on the family or not just family, the partners or the stresses now, isn't it? For some people, not all of us, because some of us don't get involved in that sort of stuff, you know what I mean? But the stress is there now for some families. Is it worse this time now?
Definitely. Always at Christmas, there's the biggest influx of hospital admissions into A&E. Because you've got the pressure of the presents, you've got the pressure of making the day go to plan, and then you've got the pressure of different family members getting together in one house, and there's probably going to be alcohol involved. Let's be honest. You've got every ingredient there for things to go wrong.
You gotta. Anyway, no, this is not a joke. You've got a cocktail.
That's right.
That is a way to put it. That you got a cocktail of flames there. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a number actually. I wanted to. I've got a number here. You know what I mean? The National Domestic Abuse Helpline and Refuge. So I'm gonna give this number out. So I'll take this number down. You know what I mean? Take this number down. If any of you are suffering from domestic violence, and the number is 0808-200-247. And this is the National Domestic Abuse Helpline Refuge. And I'll repeat that again, 0808-200-247. And you can call them day or night. There's also one for men as well, because men suffer very badly domestic violence, don't they? Yes. And the men's helpline is 0808-8010-327. That's 0808-8010-327. Now, follow-up question I'm going to ask you. Men, what about men? Do you deal with men domestic violence?
Oh gosh, yes. And it's far worse because men don't talk.
Yeah.
One of the things why that is the best solver of any sort of domestic situation that you're in is to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Men don't, because it's embarrassing. It's going against the macho image. And when you find that man who's been suffering domestic violence, they'll have been suffering it a lot longer than maybe a woman will before they speak out. It's got to the point where we're now looking at a life or death situation. And when you get to that point, that man is literally
I was going to say, how do you, have you seen this face-to-face, face-up?
Yes.
The face-up?
Yes, and it's heartbreaking. Even for myself, and as long as I've been, because that man is normally crying. And it's nothing worse than seeing a man cry. It's almost, you want to retract back in yourself. And, you know, a lot of the situations are embarrassing for them to be at that point. I've seen a man who's suffering domestic violence, and it's because his wife had been beating him up.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to leave the family home because of the whole thing of the children. He was the main breadwinner, but for her, he wasn't earning enough money. So what you've got there is a double whammy.
Yeah.
He already feels bad because he's not earning
working enough money. Yeah.
And then she's then getting the frying pan to his head.
Yeah.
And so you've got all that. So that's making him feel less of a man.
Yeah.
And he's at a point of tears. And
did he stay in that situation?
no, he did. He was offered an immediate way out and, you know, admittance into a hostel because he needed to have time out of that environment. She was charged, and quite rightly so. Mm-hmm. That was the other thing. He didn't want that to happen, for her to be charged. But that's what had to happen for then the agencies to get involved and to then give him supported living accommodation away from her.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, he was helped, but he didn't want that in the first place. He didn't, because it was disruptive to his family, but his life was in danger.
What about children?
Oh, the effects is awful. The mental effects for them to be seeing this happening to their parents, to their carers, then that again can create violence within them, because that's the only way they can express this, the very dysfunctional, crazy world that they're living in. They're only children. Mm-hmm. And to be seeing this, they're almost experiencing it as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Marcia. That's well put, well explained.
It's all right.
Let me say thank you for that. Well, wow, that is, and as I say, the number, I had the numbers. I'll try and repeat that number. I'll repeat the number later on in the program. Now we're going to ease a little bit on the situation, because we're going to talk about, yes, the one that everybody has been talking about, motor racing. Yeah, the Abidabi Grand Prix. Are you a motor racing fan?
I'm not really, I must be honest.
But did you see the motor racing?
I watched it, and I must confess, I looked and I thought, what's all the fuss about? But that's only because I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
They were going round the track, so what's the problem?
No, there's certain rules, and like any sports, there's certain rules, and the one they actually did, they break the rules.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They break the rules because they. I'm gonna try and explain it. I mean,
because there was something to do with the safety car, and I thought, well, what's the problem?
They actually break the rules. You know what I mean? And some people say they break the rules because they didn't want Lewis Hamilton, because Lewis Hamilton is a 7 times world champion. You know what I mean? Nobody can actually sort of beat him at the moment. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And even the guy who wins Saturday, Max Verstaten, even Max Verstaten wins this Saturday. To be quite honest, deep down, I would say he's not a champion still. He's got a long way to go and prove himself, based on the facts of this particular race. Right. If he had won what you call a clean race, everybody would have said, Max, he's done it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's all right.
You know, it's like you remember the one about the football, the hands of God?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can sort of put it in that terms. You know what I mean?
No, because Lewis has won so many, to be able to catch up is going to take him quite some time.
Not just that. We don't mind him being a champion. We don't mind Max Verstappen beating Lewis and being a champion properly.
That's what's actually happened. He's beaten Lewis.
Yeah, but they changed the rule. They actually changed the rules while the race was going.
Oh, that's wrong. That's illegal.
You see. So that is what the problem is. Everybody said that goes around the track and.
Well, how were they able to change the rules?
Because these races has directors. They got like racing directors. They got somebody who's actually controlling the race. You know, they've got like that's controlling the race. Listen, there's big money in this.
Right. Okay.
They've got racing directors. They've got racing teams. Each team that so the race controller will say such and such a thing. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. But basically, what actually happened is not supposed to happen, because the race controller is communicating with the each member who heads the driving team. Right. So say I could talk the next man over there because he's got a different driving team. the pressure comes. You can put pressure on me as the controller.
Okay.
And this is what happens.
Agrees that this is now the new rule.
Exactly.
Because if that's the case, you're now changing the rules to suit yourself.
Well, it's a bit like me. It's like playing football, isn't it? And I said to the referee, "Oh, please, we are 1-1. Can we have another 20 minutes?"
Well, how
and
would they...
when the match is up.
So it's okay. It's the norm to change the rules.
No.
Then. Right.
That's what's caused the controversy.
I'm flabbergasted at this.
that's what actually caused the controversy.
Well, then the race is null and void.
Thank you.
As far as
Thank
basic
you.
as I am.
But because this is big money, a lot of people don't want to speak up.
So you know the rules. When it was changed, did that mean then that Lewis Hamilton was going to lose because of this new rule?
Well, you see, Lewis Hamilton was winning the race. Right. When they change the rule, Lewis Hamilton is going to lose because they want. I say that. Yes, they want Max Verstaten to win.
But then that's illegal.
Thank you. And that's what we've been trying. And that is the problem.
No, you can't do that.
No, we don't. We don't think we can do that at all.
So this rule, what was the rule?
Well, the rule says. Let me just have a quick note. You remember, I read the rule out. What happens basically. The car was locked. Now you cannot lock. They're going around, and the car was look, Max Verstaten went into the pit and he changed tires. Basically, Lewis Hamilton stays out on the track, and Max Verstaten almost launched into Lewis Hamilton. Now a car has crashed on the track. Basically, a car has crashed on the track. When the car tracks on the track, they say Max Verstaten went and changed his tires. So he come out. So all the other drivers, and there was a safety car. So all the other drivers has to be behind the safety car.
Behind the safety car.
Behind the safety car,
okay.
right? So the laps was running out. So if all the other car coming in behind the safety car, yes, they have to be behind the safety car. Lewis is leading.
Okay,
right?
So he's in front of the safety
no,
car.
He's not.
He's behind. They're all behind.
But
he's
Lewis,
at the front.
He's
right,
leading.
I've got
right?
you now.
Now, if the race had finished like that,
Lewis
had said won.
Yeah.
What they then say, cars can't overtake. That is the rule. Car can't overtake the safety car and carry them. But it didn't work like that. They then allow cars to sort of overtake the other ones. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this.
Because
let's have a look at this.
This is dangerous.
Let's have a look at this.
I think
okay, so here we have Lewis Hamilton, yeah?
Okay.
He's got a great start.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a great start. Max Verstaten is going as well. The car is Max Verstaten. No, he literally forced into Lewis here, yeah? Literally forced into Lewis Hamilton here, right? They go around the corner, Lewis, and he touched Lewis Hamilton's car there, right? You can see that, right?
Yes.
Yeah? Lewis Hamilton, that's right. That's where that has been, yeah? See that?
Right, okay, I've got this.
So, what happens there?
First race. Oh no!
This is
crashed.
This is carrying on. What happened here? Let's try and take it from here. What happens here is that he literally touched Lewis Hamilton's car. When that happens, Lewis Hamilton has to go. He has to sling wide, right? And he went off the track.
Right.
So he went off the track, and then race. He has to give. He got in front of Max Verstaten, but he has to give the position back. So he gave the position back.
Okay.
Yeah? So he gave the position one. So the race carried on until into like I think it was like 14 where there was a major crash.
Okay.
Okay. What happened then? Max Verstaten went in and changed his tires.
Right. Okay.
First race.
Oh no! Nicholas Latifi has crashed, and I think that is at turn 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, he crashed at turn 14, Nicholas Latifi. So what will happen then is they will sort of say you can change your tire when somebody has crashed.
Right, okay.
Racing as well is a strategy, right? So Lewis Hamilton stayed on the track. He didn't change his tire.
No.
So he's in front. If he had come off the track and changed his tire, he would have lost track position.
Right.
Cancel that. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake.
Yeah, of course. Typical decision.
Be able to overtake.
Okay.
Yeah? And that is what happened. It's not allowed.
Christian and Michael.
Yes, go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, why aren't we getting these lap cars out of the way?
So that is Christian Horner literally talking to the racing director to say, why aren't we getting these
Don't clear.
out the way? No. Have a listen to this.
You only need one racing lap.
Right. He said now he only need one racing lap. So what he's actually doing is literally he wants to get in front of Max Verstaten.
But
He wants Max Verstaten to finish ahead of Lewis
say it.
when Lewis is already doing the race. So they break the rules. This is where they
this is
actually
the
break the
point of
rules.
making. So the rules technically have been broken.
Yeah, the rules are
So are you saying that this Michael Verstaten, but he still won?
yeah, he still won.
But how can he win if the rules have been broken?
Well, there you have it.
Lapped cars to overtake the safety car. So Norris and Alonso and Ocon and Leclerc and Vettel to
And it's
overtake
ending.
it.
And it's ending. Wow.
My good.
So there's confusion, but the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So those back markers allowed to overtake the safety car, and that has now left Lewis Hamilton.
See, what happens there? The safety car is going to go in, right? And I mean, Toto Wolff is furious about that. Yeah.
So isn't this going to be contested?
It is being contested. It is being contested, but we don't know what the outcome is going to be.
I was going to say.
They've had one protest, they've had another protest, and it's something. I don't know if we can actually stop this because there's another thing. The safety car is actually going.
But this is illegal. They can't.
The safety car is actually going in. The other rule is that the fact
you can't overtake the safety car.
no, and the safety car is going in, and he's already on the track. He's literally overtaking Lewis Hamilton.
No. This is.
And that's the rule. The safety car has to go around twice before he can actually overtake.
So in all of this, though, let me just get this into my head. Right. So this is. When did this happen today?
The weekend.
Weekend. That's right. Weekend.
Weekend.
So what I can't understand is we're now 4 days into, and they haven't come to the conclusion that this is illegal and this is wrong. Why is it taking so long for it to be dismissed? And what are they talking?
They've dismissed it. The other problem is that they had other races. They had other people in the race.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't just Lewis and Max Verstappen was
But
racing.
is it dangerous then to change the rules because the
Yeah.
other drivers aren't aware of this change of rules?
By changing the rules where the other drivers have finished up, by changing the rules where the other drivers finish up, they've actually lost points.
Now the whole thing
And
is
they
a shambles.
Nobody's actually said, none of the other drivers who sort of what we call finish up behind Schumacher, none of them have actually come out and says, listen, they hasn't said anything, but they have actually lost points because it's Max Verstappen.
So hold on, they've lost points, but they aren't even fighting.
No,
their
they're
own
not
cause.
saying nothing.
Well, why not? What is? This is an amazing situation whereby this is a high international, high-profile sport.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that the rules can be changed as the actual race is happening?
Well, this-
I mean, it screams illegal.
Yeah, this is
There's as basic as I am, and I don't follow Grand Prix.
races.
It's not just the general story. The thread of this is so illegal. I mean, right now they should already have concluded that what happened the weekend was illegal.
Yeah. Racing is basically racing is a rich man's sport. Lewis Hamilton's father has had 5, 6, 7, 8 different jobs to get his son into motor racing. Yeah. And because it's not what you call a diverse sport, it's not very diverse, is it?
No, it's
motor
not.
racing isn't very diverse. And as I say, I think a lot of people, because Lewis is 8 times champion. You see, one of the issues with his, a lot of people have said, one of the issues is a lot of people have said the fact that Lewis Hamilton is 7 times world champion. Yeah.
Is it a racial thing, do you think?
Well, I did say diverse, honey. Do you remember me saying diverse?
You did say diverse, but I can say
there's
racial.
There's not a lot of people from diverse background that is in that sport.
Because to me, I don't...
Now, sorry, Lewis Hamilton is 7 times world champion, right? Now, if he had won that race, Michael Schumacher, him and Michael Schumacher are tied, right? In what we call tied. If he had won that race, he would have beat Michael Schumacher's record. Now, Michael Schumacher a lot of people don't want to see Lewis Hamilton beat that record.
Basically.
As I say, Lewis Hamilton is from a diverse background. This young guy, his father worked so hard, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs to get him into the sports, and he's doing well. He's at the top of the tree.
And he's been knighted,
Nobody,
hasn't he?
exactly, nobody can beat him.
But you see, regardless of all of that, and yes, you're right, the rules are the rules. How can you, there's got to be a rule that says you can't change the rule halfway through the actual race itself. That can't happen. As basic as I am, you could, common sense says to you.
Because basically they want Max Verstappen to win. Basically, let me have a look. I mean, the race is actually finished, and you see Louis' father here. Louis' father is actually saying something. He's also gone over to the Max Verstappen father. No grudges. He's gone over to Max Verstappen father and he's congratulating. Now, there he's congratulating the so-called race winner, Max Verstappen. Look at Max Verstappen. Max, he's the guy who won. Look at Max Verstappen. Look at Max Verstappen's face when Lewis went over to congratulate him. Look how he puts his face down.
He looks embarrassed.
He looks embarrassed. He can't believe that Lewis, such a gentleman, you know what I mean? Such a gentleman and a humble man has literally come over and congratulated him.
But this is out and out cheating. The word cheating here. And it was, they've been allowed to cheat.
And nobody's saying anything. As I say, Mercedes has put in, like, you know what I mean, a couple of protests. I think they're putting two. I know
they're accepting that.
I know they had lost one, and I don't know if they're gonna win. Actually, I don't know if they're gonna win the protest that they've actually put in.
So hold on. This is a cheat. This is a lie. This is robbery.
Yes.
And you're trying to tell me in the Grand Prix Formula sporting world,
yes,
they will accept this.
This is it. The other thing as well, you know, the other thing before we end the program, the final thing I want to say, there's professional in this country, right, who literally has come out and says that they are glad Max Verstappen won. Lewis Hamilton is a British driver. There's professionals in this country. You know, in this country, we all support our country, innit? Right? Or something. Lewis Hamilton is a British champion. There's professional, so-called professionals in this country.
Who are British themselves.
Who are British themselves. And they have said.
It's a racial thing?
They have said.
If that's the case, it's a racial thing.
They have said, let me say it again. They have said they are glad Max Verstappen has won. So they said of their own Lewis Hamilton.
Because it's a racial thing. I mean, I'm happy to say, quite confidently to say it's a racial thing. And if anybody wants to prove me wrong, do that then. Because
the only person who I have actually heard said is a guy called Russell. Russell is a British driver. And he actually said at the end of the race, what happened there? What has happened there?
For me, the issue I have, it's so you know the Grand Prix, the authority, I don't know, the board, who are the top people, they've said this is okay.
Well, they've accepted it, hasn't it? They said Max Verstappen is a champion now. So that means they've accepted it, hasn't they?
My gosh, any lawyer in the land would love this. This is an easy win. But I don't understand.
I don't know. You see, because they've got their own rules, and they can twist and bend their own rules, and I don't even know if you can sort of take it to a court as such, you know what I mean? Because they've got their own, you know what I mean? They've got their own role, and we're not going to take it to that court, you know, because we can govern ourselves.
This is like institutional racism.
We can govern ourselves, so we can govern it, you know.
No, everybody has to answer to somebody.
Well, no, basically, you know, and I do, you know that there's powers being in this country that actually govern themselves.
I am absolutely shocked.
It's like the same thing. It's like the same.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked that this is on television, the whole world can see it, and everyone can see it was a racial robbery, and I'm going to say that. And it's been accepted, and no one's contesting it.
Marcia, wow. The program is coming to an end.
Thank you for having me
Let
here.
me say thank you.
No problem, it's wonderful.
There you have it, guys. Welcome. Thank you, Marcia, once again for sharing your wonderful moments with us. It's been fun. It's been good vibes,
Thank
isn't
you
it?
very much. Thank you for having me.
And let me ask you we'll be having you back again, you know what I mean?
Oh, if please, that would be wonderful.
And I'm sure it'll be absolutely fantastic having you back again.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me say thank you. Right, guys, so there you have it. Don't forget, we'll be back here next week with another live stream with What's on Your Mind. Let me say a big shout out to you, my good friend in America, Hector. How you doing, sir? And your wife. So let me say big shout out also. Also, Andrea Bembridge in Jamaica, the Bailey family. Big shout out to you guys out there. And all our viewers across the world, let me say thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Massive respect. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My time is here. Thank you.
What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339 Dudley Road, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Break Tru Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Planning an event? Do it professionally. Please contact Break Tru Event Management Team and get everything under one roof for both indoor and outdoor occasions, birthday parties, bridal and baby showers, anniversaries, funerals, backyard BBQs and more. We offer a video and photography service, marquees, decoration and a PA system to hire, with popular new style radio DJs spinning old and new school hits. Please contact 07584 197 380 and book all your catering needs with Reggae Jam Jam catering service on 0787 244 3765. And remember, do it good and done.